This video is brought to you by Maypen Educational Centre, catering to evening CSEC classes and chess classes. Call 876-337-7374 or 876-775-6692. We got you covered preparing for exams. Andy Gone Nuts. 100% guaranteed fresh coconut water delivered straight to your door. Call 876-309-6128. That's 876-309-6128. Refreshing and affordable. For more information, follow them on Instagram at Andy Gone Nuts. Truly refreshing. And Crumble by Mrs. C. Old English fudge and other delectable sweet treats. Call or WhatsApp 876-586-0471. That's 876-586-0471. Hello everyone, I'm Simon Preston and welcome back to Sports City. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video on this channel. As you can see, a very special guest with us today. It's none other than veteran of Jamaica's Rugby Sevens team, none other than Conan Osbourne. Conan, how you doing, my friend?
Good, Simon. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's been a little while since we last spoke, so the honour's all mine, mate.
Yeah, and I think the last time you were like in Kingston was back in 2019 thereabouts when you came and played at Sabina Park.
Yeah, it's been a little while. And you know what? Before this recent run of injuries, that was my last injury. So I think you just keep catching me at these bad times, Simon.
It's the nature of the sport, but it's a pleasure to have a chat with you for a few minutes. You know, going into the big tournament tomorrow and games ahead. I just wanted to know from you firstly how the lads feeling going into tomorrow. A couple of new faces in the squad for their first World Cup, and a couple of veterans in the squad as well.
Yeah, no, look, we're really excited. First and foremost, I'm really proud and honoured to be here for my second World Cup. Obviously, won't be playing this time around due to the injury, but just to be a part of it still was for me so important. So the fact that the lads have kind of welcomed me in a non-playing capacity and the union was able to find a slot in which I could help in a different way was huge, and I'm proud to do that. But in terms of the team, it's a really exciting time for Jamaica Rugby. Obviously, as you would have seen in the Challenger Series, there was a lot of new faces, some of the younger guys that are coming through, which is huge for us. You'll know some of the old guard, the Ashleys, the Gareths, the Rods, Tylers, Omars, all of those guys. We've kind of been together for the last 5-6 years. And it's always been kind of what's next. We didn't want to be one of those teams that was great and was pushing boundaries, winning kind of local tournaments, getting into these bigger world series events and World Cups and Commonwealth Games, and it just be for a short period of time and then we're off the face of the planet again. So the whole thing for us was what comes next. And with this new crop of players coming in, there is a real succession plan, and it's exciting for some of the veterans. It's their last tournament, and it's a good one to go out on. So this is a good one. It's a bit of a handing over of the baton to some of these new guys going in and saying goodbye to some of those old ones. So for me, it's one of the most exciting times for Jamaica Rugby in the last 8-9 years I've been involved.
And bearing in mind, you know, the role that you'll be playing for this tournament, you had some experience at the Spain Sevens earlier this year. What was that role like, being in that coaching capacity?
Yeah, so for the first leg, I was assistant coach to James Bailey. He had to go home for the second leg, so was quickly elevated to head coach for the second leg of the series in Sevilla. So that was a real baptism of fire, but absolutely loved and relished the opportunity. Obviously, I've been captain for a number of years, and so there are some transferable skills there in terms of some of the things that you have to do. But look, like with this group of players, they kind of embraced it, and I embraced it, and it was a really amazing opportunity to take on, and hopefully maybe something in years to come might happen again.
Certainly, you don't want to hang up the boots just yet, but definitely something to consider for sure. But yeah, when you look at the score lines of the games, though, Conan, you know, at the Challenger Series a couple of years ago in 2020 against Japan, the margin was a bit wide. This one, it went to overtime. The Canada game at the round sevens was a bit tighter. Would you say we're starting to catch up with some of the teams that are on the circuit?
Yeah, I think so. And not only catch up with them, but it's all about time together, really. And the more time we get together playing at these bigger tournaments, the better we get. If you think about the trajectory of how these teams go, they are on the field together, living together 5-6 days a week, constantly training. So the trajectory of what they improve is a lot slower because they spend so much time together. So the more and more time we get to spend together, our trajectory goes like this because we're together such a little amount of time. The time we do spend together, it's amazing, and you just see the difference even in a week from Monday to the captain's run today. It's awesome, and the more we gel, the more time we play together. It's only a matter of time, Simon. It's only a matter of time. It's a when, not an if.
And how do you look at the experience you had in San Francisco compared to now? Would you say that experience from the time in America 4 years ago has helped you and the team where they are right now?
Yeah, I think so. And 4 years ago, again, even for the ones that we're kind of classing as veterans now, there was an element of deer in the headlights. We're at a tournament that you kind of grow up never imagining that you're going to play in, and then suddenly we're there. And you're soaking it in, playing in one of the famous baseball stadiums in the US overlooking the marina. It was a lot. And I think that moment caught up with us. And so there are a lot of regrets from that tournament, but also there are a lot of learnings as well. And that sort of thing is to be expected when it's your first time. But in the last 4 years, we've come on so far. We've played in so many other major tournaments now that we don't go just to turn up and enjoy the moment. We go to compete. And for us, it's always about getting better, even if we don't win the games, it's about taking those small victories. How do we keep improving? How do we improve the program? So yeah, I think being there 4 years ago, I think there's 3 or 4 boys that played 4 years ago. It's not just about the players on the pitch. You think that's the crucial thing, but it's also the management. Our management, our program, our backroom staff, our chairman, they've never been at these tournaments before. So for them, it's a huge learning. So all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like they don't get those things right first time round as well. So once they're coming in and they've done all these big tournaments too, the management and the backroom staff, it's so much slicker, which means that life becomes so much easier for the players. All they have to do is focus on playing. So whilst everybody sees what happens on the field, everything gets slicker off the field as well, and that contributes to the performances.
And I'm sure for you, you must be grateful the experiences that you've had quite recently with Coach Serevi, right recently over the Bahamas, and now Coach Horn. Has the experiences been like with both lads?
Awesome. Like you're talking about some of the biggest names in the game from not that long ago with Frankie. I remember watching that Blitzbokker side, and they're probably one of the best ever that sevens team I've ever seen play, not Blitzbokker team. And Serevi, the king of sevens, right? So what more can you ask for? Not even just from a coaching perspective, but just being around these guys and the professionalism they hold themselves to. Like they don't have a huge amount of time to impact the playing or the individual ability of players. They don't have a huge amount of time to do that. But what they do have the opportunity to do is teach the boys about these experiences. What are the small 1%ers that we can do to make a difference? And they've got that experience in abundance. So just pushing that experience onto not just the younger lads, but some of the older lads too, it's huge.
Hmm. And now heading into the tournament, as you said in an interview quite recently, the boys, you as a whole, are going to create history tomorrow. No other Jamaican male sports team has played in 2 World Cups, so it's history for itself for them to go there tomorrow. So tell me what you know about the Scots. Have you played any of those lads before? Have you played against any of the Scottish lads? And tell me a bit what you know about them.
Yeah, so we know a little bit. Obviously, some of us were born in the UK, and even though we come from Jamaican heritage, we've been around. And I think there was a joke made by Frankie in the meeting yesterday about the Poms and the Scots not liking each other. I'm not saying if that's true, but yeah, there'll be no love lost tomorrow, and it's going to be an interesting one. I think I'm actually coaching a team in Dubai at the end of this month, and 2 of the young Jamaican lads are part of that side. and one of the Scottish lads is part of that side as well. So there was talk of getting a photo between us, but yeah, we're not going to talk to them until after that game tomorrow, fraternizing with the enemy and all that. So, but yeah, no, we know a little bit. We've done our research. It's a lot easier for us to do research on these big teams because they play so many games. Like they played in LA last week. So we've done our analysis, and put it this way, we know more about them than they know about us. So that's an advantage.
Yeah. Certainly an exciting time to look forward to. An early start. It's a morning game. The lads looking forward to that. Some games on the circuit have been evening games, so this is a bright early morning game. How are the lads feeling about that?
Yeah, good, excited. Like once you've been here a week like we have, and training every day and meetings, there's a lot on the schedule. The schedule's heavy in a week leading up, so it's nice the first day of the tournament to just wake up, do your prep, and get out there. You don't want to be sitting around and waiting, and you're excited. Like from the moment you wake up on game day, you've got that adrenaline running through your body. You've got that nervousness in your stomach, the excitement. So to be able to just get up early, get out and play that game, what more can you ask for? It's beautiful. When we first got here, it was raining, it was gross. But ever since Monday, it's been blue skies. I'm not sure if you've seen that Cape Town stadium, but we just did the walk around. It's an amazing stadium. You've got Table Mountain in the background. You've got the ocean just on the other side of it. So, in terms of the scenery, you can't ask for more. We're in a country where rugby is a religion. So we're trying to make it so for Jamaica as well. It's hopefully we'll have track and field, cricket, football, and rugby just up there with them as well. So we've got to keep grinding away for that. And yeah, the more successful we become, corporate Jamaica is going to give us more attention. So that's the key for us, just to go out there and play with a smile on our faces and hopefully get one over on the Scots.
Absolutely brilliant there, yeah. And a couple of lads from the island have made the trip over to South Africa, Fabian Turner and Ronaldinho Fraser. What has it been like for them in the camp? Because some of these surfaces, the facilities, we honestly don't have back home just yet, So for them, it must be like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, unbelievable. And for both of them, it's their first World Cup. Tino, he's been around. I can't even think about how many years now, but he's been around a while, like at least 6-7 years. And this is actually his final tournament. So he's excited. He wants to go out with a bang. I don't know if it's hanging the boots up forever, but he works in a bank back in Jamaica, and he needs to focus on his career a little bit. So for him, he's really excited. And Beanie, little Beanie man, this is his second or third tournament. So he's just soaking it in, being part of these things. It's a huge opportunity for him, and he's excited. And if you think back to 4 years ago, we had obviously Eddie was there. We had the Facey brothers, and I think Mikel scored for me the try of the tournament. And he's one of the brightest talents on the island that I've seen in the last few years, and hopefully he's going to be making his way back into the team. There's other boys back on the island that are really knocking on the door, so it's really exciting. And for those guys, I'm really excited to see what they do.
And when you think about the future as well, Conan, you look later this year, you have round sevens next year, CAC and Pan American Games, of course, the Olympic qualifier. So there will be opportunities for players. The pool is growing, as you can see. So a player should not feel disappointed if they're left out for one tournament, because there's always more ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's difficult, right? And especially back in the day, a few years ago, when we'd only play like a RAN and something else, meant that if you didn't get selected, you don't have another chance for a year or 6 months. But there's so many tournaments now, and because we're unpaid and a lot of the time self-funded to these tournaments. Firstly, some boys can't afford to get there sometimes. Like for me to come and support this weekend cost me £1,300. So the bank account's struggling at the moment, but it was an opportunity that can't be missed. And so there's those kind of pressures, but so that sometimes means people can't make it. But then also there's so many opportunities. We need a bit as big a player pool as possible. Like the lads were out in Chile not so long ago. You had the Commonwealth Games before that. We've got so many tournaments in such a short period of time that the more players that we have to pick from, number one, it drives up the standards, the ability of the team. But then number two, we have an opportunity to play these players and see what they can do. And as you see with with one half of the squad slightly aging and transitioning out, it's about what comes next. And as I said, it's not about making a big splash in a single moment of time. For me and for a lot of these guys, it's been about building what comes in the future. And Bruce and Houghton, they've got that vision and have for the whole period, and so does Jerry. So we're kind of really excited about what's coming, and it's really important that we get these players, and as you say, they don't get too disheartened. The most important thing is to take it as an opportunity to fight back and work harder and prove that it was a mistake. If you think that you should be playing, you have to prove that.
Absolutely, well said. For you, a few years down the road, what would you say, would you consider a success for you? Would you say seeing Jamaica on the Seventh Circuit consistently, would that for you be at the top of the mountain, or do you have other objectives that you'd like to see Jamaica?
Yeah, there's a couple. So personally, I passed 100 caps at Commonwealth Games, so I want to get to 150 now. So that's at least 3 more years, and then we're only another year away from a World Cup and a Commonwealth Games again. So who knows whether the body holds out for another 4 years? We'll see. But that's a personal goal of mine. In terms of a team, there's a couple of things. One is an Olympics. That's a non-negotiable. We have to get there. We've done everything else. For me, 6 years ago, a Commonwealth Games and a World Cup was an absolute pipe dream, and now we've done 2. So the only thing left is Olympics in terms of those big tournaments that Jamaicans love. If we're in Olympics, can you imagine the fan base, how much that would grow? So that for me is a non-negotiable. That would be a huge success. And as you say, the other thing is a World Series. We're not far away. We came 10th in the Challenger Series the other day with a pretty young squad. So you match that up with some experienced heads as well. The question is how far up that can we climb? And then you're only a few spaces away from the World Series. So if we can get ourselves close to a World Series spot with the Olympics as well, I'd consider that a real success. And then I think the final point to put on that is a program that has legs and has life. So in 3 years' time, when a group of players that are around my age, such as Rodri and Tyler as well, when we start to be looking to transition out and the young lads move into that kind of middle area, is their life after that? That's what we want. We want it to be a continuous conveyor belt of these big tournaments of players, more players coming from the island, more people playing rugby on the island. That's the key. And if we can lay the foundations for something like that to happen, then what more can we ask for? That's for me as a legacy.
That's really, really great. Look, Conan, really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Relay all the best to the boys, and let them know that we have to think about that 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old boy on the island that is looking for something to do, and they can be that inspiration for them to pick up that ball when they enter school. So that's an inspiration that they have to encourage other younger lads on the island to take up the sport.
Exactly, Simon. That's the thing. One last thing from me. Yeah, this is huge. This is huge. You doing things like this, promoting the sport, getting us to come and talk, showing kids and even adults back home on the island that there are other opportunities to travel the world. I can't even count the amount of countries and places that I've been to thanks to Jamaica Rugby and where we are. And there's only a finite amount of Olympic sprinting spots, right? But that might not be your only talent. Try rugby, pick up a ball, go tell someone about it. And when you do things like this and help us promote the game, it's huge for us. So thank you so much for doing that, and keep flying the flag. And hopefully this weekend, despite the results, we can make people proud, because we wear the flag with pride, and nothing means more. So thank you again. And yeah, hopefully even just today, we'll have one more kid pick up a rugby ball because of this. That's a success.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Conan. Really, really appreciate it. And yes, the growth on the island, the exposure will certainly be there. So thank you very much. Relay all the best to the lads, and we